So let's say we need to add something. We've decided that we need to keep track of clients based on if they're a nonprofit, a retail organization, or a service organization. So essentially, in the clients table, we need to add a field. We need to add a column where we can keep track of what type of client these are. You're now adjusting the database structure because if you think about it, you're adding a new field for the database to keep track of, and we need to do that inside of the design view for this table. So in the side design view, we're going to go ahead and go just above amount paid, and we're going to right click and insert a row. This works just like in Excel where you can go to the left of it, insert rows and delete rows, but we're going to insert one. And that's going to allow us to create a field. We're going to create a field called client type, and this is going to be a 3 options field. So it's going to either allow us to put in NON for nonprofit, RET for retail organization, or SER for client as a service organization. Now, what's important is that we want it to be consistent. We want it to always be one of those 3. We want them to be typed in consistently, whether they're capitalized, all lowercase, or with a first capital letter. So what we can do is instead of creating a bunch of rules down here and a validation rule and all these kinds of things, Access has something built in called a lookup wizard. The great thing about a lookup field is it allows you to put in values that the user can pick, and then they can pick from that list of values to fill the field. So you can set values that you have and make them pick from that list. So we're going to go to the lookup wizard, and we are going to either, it says look up the values from another table. So this would be great for like BA number, for instance, if you wanted to make sure that they were always pulling from the BA number, from the BA business analyst table. But we're going to type in new values because this is a new field. So clicking, I will type in the new values I want and hitting next. In the first column, you get to specify what you want. I think it's important to note that we don't just skip past what's being listed up here, but it says like, what values do you want to see in your lookup field? Enter the number of columns you want in the list and then type the values you want in each cell. At this point, we don't need multiple columns. You could have multiple columns, but you really don't. And we are going to go ahead and put NON, all caps. The next option is RET, and the next option is going to be SER. Okay. In addition, you can change the field size down here to be 3 because it's 3 values or 3 alphanumeric values. However, we don't really need to because the lookup field is going to just give those options anyway. So we don't need to specify those kinds of things because nobody's going to be typing anything in. And the next option is going to say, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go ahead and limit the entries of these choices? Do you want to allow multiple values? We can do these kinds of things, but in this case, they are either a client who is a nonprofit, a service, or a retail, so we don't want them to be able to check multiple options. We just want one of them. So we're going to hit finish, and you will see that it will then develop a short text field. However, if we go to the lookup tab here, you're going to see that the row source has 3 values available to it, and we have to pick from those values. It also says, this is kind of interesting, what kind of display control this is going to be. This is going to become important as we move into forms because forms have different types of inputs. Like you have a box that you can type into called a text box. Maybe you have a checkbox option. Maybe you have a drop-down menu. Maybe you have a combo box. Maybe you have a radio option, which are like the circle buttons that you only are able to choose one. Those are all different types of display controls. In this case, it's going to do a combo box, which when we go to datasheet view and save the table, you'll see that when I click on client type, a combo box is a drop-down menu box inside of Access. So what we can do is then add in a bunch of different client types.